All right. Now, Mheshimiwa Wandeto, leadership is about service, then responsibility and being accountable to the people. And yes, there is pertinent issues that during Uhuru Kenyatta's regime, there are certain things that didn't go right. But when you hear leaders who sit in parliament, they are your colleagues in parliament, one of them is also a cabinet secretary, sits in the cabinet, fighting and attacking a former head of state and forgetting what the message is, what are Kenyans supposed to do with their leaders?
Yeah, Sam, I think what we saw over the weekend is very sad. And we have seen an extension of that, from the words that my neighbor here, Nelson, has uttered this morning. First of all, Uhuru Kenyatta is a former head of state. He's also an elder now and a statesman. And a father, I think a grandfather also. And he's playing all those roles together. So whenever he stands and urges young people to take charge of their country, and you remember he did that at a funeral in Kiambu a few months ago, and now in Uganda last week, when he stands up to urge the youth to take charge of their destiny, it is the same thing that all these leaders, whenever we go to Mashinani and we have those forums of the youth, we are all urging our young people, please take charge of your destiny, because we know in this country we've always accused young people of this, of that, and it's time that they start now being in charge. Last year was a very, very important year for the youth in this country. For the first time, we saw a movement led by young people, armed only with a phone, a flag, and a bottle of water. And how did we respond to them? We responded to them with tanks. We responded to them with armored personnel vehicles. And all they were demanding for is good governance in this country. So I think when you hear the sort of reactions that we see happening today, it is an indicator, just like Kibagedi has said, of a government that now is feeling so threatened. You saw actually a few weeks ago, this government feeling threatened by a bunch of young girls in Nakuru. A bunch of very young schoolgirls. All they were armed with a school uniform and a few words, which resonated very well with Kenyans who feel that this country is actually headed the wrong direction. So personally, from where I sit, I echo the words of Uhuru Kenyatta, and I would also like to urge our youth, it is time, first of all, they should register as voters. We've been urging them to register as voters because the people who are going to change this country going forward, it is our young people. So when the leaders are here, bastardizing the former head of state, it is actually a self-indictment that from where we sit, or from where they sit, this regime has lost it. This regime no longer resonates with the youth. And if you ask the average youth out there to compare the regimes, you can do a simple poll, even in this station, just to ask them, how do you compare this regime and that regime? Look at the sort of opposition, look at the sort of the daily noises that this regime is facing. And instead of us introspecting and asking ourselves, and I'm saying this as a member of UDA, who sometimes feels very hurt to see that a party that we built, that we worked so hard on, now is like the enemy, or is, it's really the enemy of every Kenyan.
There's no solution out of this, because there are challenges.
There are solutions, but the first solution is to stop this sort of, a reactive thing, is to say, what are our youth asking about? 35% of our youth who are eligible for jobs are actually out of work, okay? Our university funding model, which is what is supposed to shape the future of this country, is actually in tatters. The CBC curriculum, right now we cannot even agree on even all the basic things of, how the senior school is going to be. People are still waiting for guidelines. Some, I can tell you today, the ministry has not even released guidelines on how JSS laboratories are supposed to be built and equipped. Yet, it's been 3 years, Now we have grade 9 of JSS, okay? If you look at, the things like the public health, there are so many issues. So instead of us addressing the issues, what we are doing is every day coming out with tanks, with harsh words, with all the things to defend and basically try and repress the youth. So it is time that our UDA government started listening to Kenyans. And I think that's all our Gen Zs were saying last year. That is what the Butere girls' children were telling us. And that is what we should be telling ourselves this morning as leaders who are aligned to UDA, that it is time we start listening to our people. Otherwise, our government is going to lose very early in the morning on August 2027.
Would you have a problem with that?
Well, these are self-inflicted wounds, but we have a chance to redeem ourselves.
Would you have a problem with your government losing?
Of course, I would have a problem with that, but I would also be very happy if we got a better government.